Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Reviews.
New York The Card Game is a retheme of Alhambra The Card Game. Super bizarre they made this confusion about Alhambra and the game New York. Maybe they were trying to appeal to different cities. I don't know, like one city to another. It was kind of a bizarre thing. Or maybe they were just selling at novelty shops in New York and that was able to get them into the novelty shops. I don't know. I've always found that really bizarre. What you're going to find in New York The Card Game is a very, very simplistic, minimalistic game. They're going to take the Alhambra idea of paying the currency for the buildings and putting it down into a card game. Most of your points are going to come from set collecting, the different buildings, etc. But how you pay them is where the game's going to get interesting. You can take money, and then when you pay for a building, if you pay the exact amount, you get an extra action. If you have to pay over for some reason, then your turn will end. And you can always pay extra for something. You can do that because something costs 6, you only have a 5 and a 2, you can't make change. So then you have to pay the 7, which is more than the 6, and that's fine. You just won't get the bonus action you're going to have. That's pretty much the game. I just taught you how to play. And that's going to be the main rub here. Very simple, very easy to teach, very easy to play. Now, for our taste, it was a little bit too simplistic. The decisions scope really wasn't there, and I kept asking, why don't we just play Alhambra? Alhambra is a very good game with a very good lineage, and I can see getting that into a smaller box, discerning it down into just the bare bones and minimalistic of that core game. But the game isn't that complicated anyway. Alhambra is about on the level of like a Ticket to Ride, something like that. Very easy, general, entry-level game. And a lot of people thought it was going to become the gateway game, but that became probably Ticket to Ride or Carcassonne. But Alhambra was in that conversation for a long time. And this is an even simpler version of that. It almost reminds me of like the little Ticket to Rides you get now and the little pandemics that you can get currently. I don't know if that's a thing that's going to last. This is kind of the same thing. But many years before. For us, it wasn't something we wanted to keep with. The theme was kind of latched onto it. A little bit too simple, and it kept just making me want to play Alhambra, so I kept Alhambra, and I got rid of New York, the card game. Purge. Here's New York, the card game. Open it up. You can see it's a special edition of Alhambra games. You're going to get a rule book, which we'll take a look at in a few minutes. And you're going to get a box that is way too big. Nothing else is in here. You're going to get a little cardboard board and a bunch of cards. The cards are pretty good quality. These are your standard cards you would get from Queen Games. Very nice. The artwork on it. Is this New York? I don't know. Whatever. It's fine. It's just nothing to write home about. Here's the rule book. Queen continues to be the gold standard. You can picture the components up here. Object of the game, setup, and a little chart here. It kind of tells you how. When you open it up, you'll see everything is color-coded. There's just not a lot of rules here. You got blue and yellow. It tells you exactly what you need to do, how to score, and on the back, the end of the game. And there's some special rules for 2 players, which I don't recommend. But the rules are easy, very simple. Probably need about 10-15 minutes to read through this. You'll be up and going, and there aren't going to be any issues while you're playing. So this is what a game might look like set up. The game's going to end when you can't put any more buildings out, and then you will score and see who won the most points. You will score twice. These will be shuffled into the deck, probably about a third of the way through and about 2/3 of the way through, and you'll have scoring, and you'll score based on the majority that you have of the different buildings, and you'll score on this chart right here. So what's going to happen here is on your turn, you can take money. You can either take 1 card. In this case, I could take a 9, and that would be it. My turn would be over, and then we would replenish the deck. Or I could take multiple cards up to a value of 5. So in this case, I could take these 2 cards. I could take these 3 cards, whatever I want as long as it's 5. If I don't want to take money, I could spend money to buy these buildings. This would tell you I would need yellow, 9, 8, blue, etc. So if I wanted to buy this card right here, I could spend an 8 blue discarding this card, and I simply could take this. But because I paid the exact amount, I could take an additional turn. I could then take my additional turn. I could buy this for 8. I'd have to spend these 7 and 4 because that's all I have. I could take this card. I don't get any change, but this building will go down in front of me, be eligible to score when we get there. When the game ends, whoever has the most points is the winner. Now, this mechanism right here is found in Alhambra. They just kind of jerked it out and put it here as its own little card game. Those are 2 options. Take the money, either 1 card up to a value of 5, or you can buy these cards. You don't get change if you overpay. If you get the exact amount, you get another turn. That's it. That's how you play New York. who should play this game? Anybody looking for a very short, easy to play card game, this will definitely hit that spot for you. It's definitely something that, and it's kind of fun to pay that money and try to get the exact amount. And do you wait to get the exact currency to have a bonus action and you can do more, or do you get exactly what you need right now? And that's the big rub in this game. You can play this with families, you can play this with your children, you can play this with gamers. It's a nice little filler game. If you're going to play Alhambra, perhaps you could play this before that. So your mileage may vary on that. For us, not enough in the box to pull it off. Purge for us.